What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Adventures in Drunk Fish Keeping. Just finished that off and it was very refreshing. Tonight's brew is just a standard shock top, just one of a nice light lager for tonight's video. So, kind of sitting here watching my tanks. Going to bring a couple things up. And watches my channel knows that I lost some fish due to the hurricane and power outage, things like that. And I just wanted to give you guys some tips and tricks on how to get back on your feet and get your tank back in shape after a large fish loss. So first thing you want to do, obviously remove the dead fish or invert anything that died in the tank. That is the biggest thing you can possibly do. Second thing you want to do, if you have power heads, kick the flow up, really get some oxygenation in the water, get some movement. I normally in my sump setup, and I've done a video of this, so I'll kind of just break down my sump. 40-gallon sump comes into a filter sock, overflows in the middle chamber. Middle chamber has my mini reactor, live rock, which then flows into a third little chamber that has a large, and I mean over a pound of Purigen and over a pound of activated carbon with an additional mechanical filter. Then gets kicked into the last chamber where my turn pump. It gets hit by my protein skimmer before it gets dumped back into the main display tank. Hence why my water is usually a little bubbly. I don't mind because I like to keep it clean. It's great. Will cause problems when you don't have any power because your tank is used to a very clean setup and it doesn't have it, so it will cause some death if you have larger, as I like to say, crop duster fish like tangs, angelfish, your predator fish that eat a lot, which predator fish usually aren't going to make a lot of waste, so they don't have anything to eat, but will happen on larger fish too for the lack of oxygen in the tank. The good news is the 120, like I said, I lost the powder blue, the chocolate mimic, the Hutchins Anthea, so it's pretty good size, and I also lost the white belly yellow wrasse. Sucked, but you know, not horrible. I didn't come back to a completely nuked tank. Good news is the 54 didn't really lose anybody. I think that has to do with the fact there was only a citron goby, a scooter blenny, and a green clown goby in there. So not a lot of load for that tank to handle, which means the filter system kept the water fairly clean even though it was off. The water that was in the tank wasn't getting trashed as quick as mine. And I had awesome success with my fluval, no loss there, but I kind of contribute that to the fact that it's a pretty heavily planted tank for a 15-gallon. So I have a feeling the plants did their job and, you know, helped put some oxygen back in the water and helped absorb some of the extra waste. So if you get into a situation like that where you know you're going to lose power or the potential of it, the thing I'd recommend, definitely doing a big water change on the tank beforehand, getting a bubbler if you can get one. If you can't, you know, you're taking a risk, and I'm definitely going to be investing in multiple battery-powered bubblers just for this occasion. So how to get back over it when it's done? The first thing I would say is obviously you got to remove your dead fish. You got to get those out of the system. So I had to remove my dead ones. The next thing you have to do is you have a lot of decay. And one thing I noticed is I had a lot of skin. I had a lot of particulate from the fish coming off. So, you know, I had a couple choices. I could have done a pretty big water change and really altered the chemistry of the tank quickly, which I wasn't a big fan of, or I could have done a medium maintenance water change and heavy skimming. So I chose medium water change with heavy skimming. So the first thing I did after I removed the dead fish, went ahead and did a 10-gallon change. Now normally when I do my water changes, I cut everything off. Skimmer, the pumps, power heads, everything drain back down with no flow. Let the tank come to a standstill, you know, obviously work the gravel, and then, you know, drain the display out. But in this situation, I wanted to get some flow going, so I left everything on to drain the display. Once I did the water change, I went ahead and pulled the filter sock and put a fresh one in. I normally change filter socks every 3 days. After this event, I was changing filter socks every 2 days. On top of that, I changed my skimming up. Normally when I skim, I'm on a drier skim mate, or a drier skim. I want it to take about 3 to 4 days, full 24-hour day running, before I get about a quarter of the collection cup filled with a a jelly skim mate. On this one, I was kicking up a little bit to where I was probably changing about every day, emptying the collection cup out just to get the heavy particulate out of the water. Now, on top of that, once you do your protein skimming, you definitely want to check your levels. Now, my nitrate, my nitrites, my ammonias look good. I don't feel like I pulled it too quick, so I don't think I altered the chemistry too insane as far as what it was and what I had. Now, going forward from that, when you have a situation like that, you probably do not want to add fish quickly. I waited about a week before I added a fish, and I'm guilty of this. So, my viewers watch me. I'm not the expert on this, but I'm just going to tell you I added a fish quicker than I probably should have. But after a week of monitoring and doing a couple water changes and stuff like that, I did add another tang. Now I had a chance to get a gorgeous large shoal tang. He was probably about rivaling the size of my powder blue in thickness. It was probably about a good 3 inches longer, so he was a good sized tang for a 120, and he was gorgeous. But a shoal tang cannot be placed with any other tangs. They are insanely aggressive, worse than my powder blue, and it wasn't worth the risk of putting that kind of fish in there because I do want to do an additional tang. Now, what I have in there right now, I bought a Flamefin Tamini, which is part of the Bristletooth family. They have a similar shape, color, and characteristic of your collide tangs, but they have a nice, really bright orangish red on the dorsal and anal fins, and a nice blue tail fin. And if he'll come out, I'll try to get a hold of him and show you guys. But he's new in the tank, so he's still a little shy. But I may be able to get him here. If you can see him, there he is. You can see that orange. Very hard to see. And he's still trying to find his place in the tank, so he's a bit shy. But he's a very pretty fish. A little more muted on the colors than, say, the powder blue. So, not quite the show fish I wanted, but he's a very gorgeous fish. And the benefit of the Bristletooth is they are very good pickers, and they like to go hit up the rock for any additional algae they can find. So not a bad ad. But there's a couple things I want to do with this tank. And originally, with what I had before, I was probably going to add maybe. It was a hard bet. It was a hard decision for me. I was either going to add 2 additional clownfish and get like designer clowns, or I was going to get maybe 1 or 2 very, very, very bright colored flash wrasse species like a McCoskers or Carpenters, maybe even a Fire. Those were what I was going for. Kind of changed a little bit. Still want to get one like really good flasher wrasse to go in there because I do have the Melanurus. But I want a flasher to really bring some color pop, and maybe do an additional firefish or 2 to have a nice little grouping of schooling fish. But what I think I'm going to do is there's a tang I'm going to put in here. And it's kind of new to the hobby as far as being able to get readily, and that is a Fowleri tang. Gorgeous coloration. The body type is kind of similar as a juvenile to a Zebrasoma, but then as it matures, kind of looks more like an Anchotherus as it really is. Beautiful, beautiful markings. Very dark coloration, almost like a purple tang, but with a darker blue hue and like an orangish, reddish marking to it. Really pretty tang. But I want to throw this out there to my viewers. I want comments on what type of additional fish I should add to this tank. I have access to a large inventory of fish, so I want to throw something out there that my viewers can like. And it depends. If someone comes up with a cool fish that I'm really digging, I might put it in the tank. I've got the room for it now. I've only got a handful of fish in here, and I've got room for probably 1 more good-sized tang and probably 3 medium, as I would say, 4 to 6 inch fish for this tank currently. And I'm kind of on the fence about the wrasses because I was the wrasse guy for a long time. Like my 54 was full of wrasses. I mean, hardwicks and all sorts of stuff. I had all sorts of crazy wrasses in there, and I love wrasses, but I kind of want to do something cool. So post them up. Let me know what you guys want to see, because I can get the fish, and I'm kind of curious as to what people want to see in the tank, because I mean, as long as it'll go in the tank, I'll put it in there, and I'm kind of wanting to see what everybody wants to see, you know. I mean, there is a particular angelfish I want that does well in the reef system, but it's kind of getting more common nowadays, so I kind of want to see what people want to throw out there, with the exceptions of the hardcore fish you can never find. So no one throw out a peppermint angel, or, you know, some like weird wrasse that there's only 2 of in captivity. They're $50,000 a piece, so none of that crazy crap, but a fish that's rare and cool, that I had a color pop. So I want to see what everybody wants to say on that. And wrapping up the video, you know, the tank's back to running pretty good. You know, I'm still monitoring things. I haven't really dosed for my corals yet again, which I'm probably going to do tomorrow. I'm going to do another water test before I really just throw a bunch of extra crap in there. But questions, comments, if you guys are curious about things, post them up down the bottom. I'm probably going to do a good tank video the next day or two, just so you guys can see the Tamini. Hopefully he'll get a little more, he's still hiding, but hopefully he'll get more active, and I just want to show you guys that. Like I said, questions, comments, put them in there, please. Doing a fish contest, I want to see what you guys want to see in the tank, because the best idea fish is going to come in this tank. If I have to secure it, however I have to do it, I'm going to get them in the tank, because I want to see it. I want to see what you guys can come up with, as long as it's not something ridiculous. So let's put that one thing out there. But guys, I appreciate it. I appreciate the people watching, and the comments, and, you know, growing my channel as far as, you know, getting knowledge out there. Like I said, I do this for fun. I do this for people who enjoy the hobby. So hopefully continue to grow. You know, I want to keep this up. Adventures in Drunk Fish Keeping is not over. I will not let this loss stop me. And, you know, put them up there. I want to see what everybody's got to say. And like I said, starting the fish contest tonight. So I definitely want to see some comments about what needs to go in this tank next. So guys, as always, Adventures in Drunk Fish Keeping, signing out, and that was absolutely refreshing.